Hey there, it's Dave with FlipperForce. Got our software roadmap open here, and I'm just going to discuss what we've been working on lately and discuss some of the new tools and features that we'll be launching over the next few weeks. So you can access our software roadmap here from the features drop-down menu right there on our website. Go down to software roadmap, and that will take you to the software roadmap page where we have a list of everything that we've been working on, what we have in progress, and then what we're going to be working on in the future. So if you look over here in the completed column, this is going to tell you some of the recently completed items that we've been working on and that we've successfully launched up to the app. So you can see we had a pretty busy month of April. So we've been making a lot of improvements to our Flip Analyzer tool. We launched some new advanced loan options in April. We also launched some new default analysis settings, which allow you to save your analysis preferences for your house flip deals. That'll hopefully save you some time. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. You can actually just click on this little button here, click on this link, and it'll take you to a page in a video which discusses those features more in depth. Otherwise, we've been working on our repair estimator, making some minor improvements to the repair estimator. One of the things that we just launched a couple days ago was some new speed improvements to our estimate template loading. So previously it was taking about 30 seconds to load in your estimate templates initially into the estimator, but now we've got that working, so it's actually only loading in a few seconds. So what we're going to be working on here now over the next couple weeks is we're going to be working on our new BRRRR calculator and then also our bid manager. So I'm just going to show you a couple quick previews of what we're going to be working on and what you should be looking for over the next couple weeks. And then when we get that BRRRR calculator launched here, that should be about the end of May, maybe the first week of June. So let's show you the bid manager first. So I'm actually thinking that could be launched by the end of this week or early next week. So this is just a quick preview of what we've got going on here. We're going to start adding in some widgets to the repair estimator, which will help you manage other aspects of putting together an estimate. So when you're putting together an estimate, you're putting together a budget for the project, but you're also kind of going through the inspection, you're building a scope of work, and then you're managing bids. So that's kind of the different aspects in these widgets that we're going to be adding to the repair estimator. So that way you can manage all of that stuff directly on the estimator as you're putting together your estimate and your scope of work. So one of the tools that we're going to be adding this week is going to be this bid manager. So this is going to be a place on the estimator where you can manage the bids that you receive for particular categories. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to designate which category submitted the bid to you, what their bid amount was. You'll be able to make bid adjustments. So if they excluded something from their scope of work, you can adjust their bid to make sure that your bids between your different contractors are apples to apples and oranges to oranges. You'll be able to designate whether it's a labor and material bid or a labor only bid, or maybe they're just providing the material, and then make additional notes as far as what the contractor included in their bid, just to kind of clarify that kind of stuff internally, so that way you know what they have included and maybe some of the stuff that they excluded from their bid. And then you'll be able to upload their bid proposal. So this will be a new tool that will help you compare all of the different bids that you receive from your different contractors, help you determine who the lowest qualified bidder is. So maybe not necessarily the lowest, but the most qualified bidder. And then once you do that, you'll be able to figure out what that bid amount is, and you'll be able to plug that into your roofing bid. So if you wanted to say, let's plug in a roofing bid allowance, maybe our lowest bidder was $5,000, you'll be able to plug that into the estimator, use that as your budget. So that's where that new bid manager is going to come into play. It's going to provide you a new tool, a new widget directly on the estimator where you can compare and manage the bids that you receive for your projects. A couple other widgets that we're thinking about adding is going to be like the inspection notes. So scope of work notes, that's already a widget we have on there. So that's just a tool that you can use to write your scope of work notes for a particular category. So that way you can tell the contractor exactly what they need to include in their bid proposal. Otherwise, this new inspection notes, this is another tool that we've got planned for basically writing down the condition of each category. So basically just kind of a quick tool that you can use to say, is this in good shape? Is it in bad shape? Is it ugly? Does it need to be repaired or replaced? then maybe make some inspection notes saying what the condition of the property is. So that can be an area where you can just jot down some additional notes as far as what the condition of that particular category is. Another idea that we had was just kind of a pictures area. So if you wanted to upload your pictures to a particular category, you could click on this and maybe you can just take a picture of the roof condition. We've got some pretty pictures of California, it looks like, but if you wanted to upload the pictures of the roof condition, this could be an area where maybe you upload those pictures here and you can just kind of visually see the roof while you're putting together your estimate, so you can kind of recall what the condition of the property was, have those images directly in the estimator for you, so that way you can use that to help you determine the quantity, the scope of work. A lot of times I'll look at pictures visually of like a kitchen or something and I'll kind of guesstimate what the square footage of the countertops is just by kind of looking at it. So that's what this could kind of be used for, is if you've got a picture of a kitchen or something like that, you could use that to help you kind of clarify or quantify what those quantities are. But these are obviously some beautiful photos of California of some kind. But you could use this to upload actual property photos for your projects. So that's what we've got planned for the estimator. So just adding on some cool new tools and widgets just to manage those other aspects of putting together your estimate. Documenting the property condition with the inspection notes, writing a scope of work with your scope of work notes, and then collecting and comparing your bids that you receive for each of the categories. So that's what we'll be launching hopefully here in the next week. Is just the bid manager and the inspection tools. We're still kind of playing around with what this Pix app could kind of look like, but so we may not launch that. But if you have any ideas on what you think would benefit you from that perspective, let us know. Otherwise, the next big tool that we'll be launching is going to be our rental calculator tool. So that's what we've got next, is our BRRRR calculator. And so we've done a couple videos on this so far. We did a sneak peek, but if you haven't seen that video, this is our new rental calculator here, which can be used specifically more so for BRRRR deals. So buying a property at a discount, renovating the property to increase the property value, so that way you can build in short-term equity. And instead of flipping the property, you're going to be holding it long-term, so that way you can capture that rental income and then hopefully get a cash flowing property that builds equity over time. So you can see it's going to be pretty similar to our flip analyzer tool. It's just going to be a step-by-step tool. Essentially the first phase is again going to be determining how much short-term equity you can build into the deal by buying the property at a discount and then increasing the property value by making smart renovations. So this is going to be very similar to our flip analyzer tool, but then we've added on a second phase here, which is going to be used for entering your rental income. So you can see you can add in multiple units here for your rental income, do your vacancy and credit losses, also calculate your operating expenses, plug in a long-term loan. So in the first phase, we're assuming that you're going to be either buying it with cash or buying it with a short-term bridge loan, and then you'll be refinancing it later on with a long-term low interest rate mortgage is the idea here. And then eventually it'll be able to calculate your cash flow here. And then we're going to be building out a results page. So I think this first phase of building out the step-by-step process, we'll have that launched by hopefully by the end of May. It might be the first week of June. And then we'll be launching kind of the second phase, which is really this very, very detailed results page showing you all of the detailed results that went into that analysis. So basically what this page is going to do is it's going to have a summary showing you what the overall important metrics of the BRRRR analysis are. So how much equity can you build into the deal up front by buying the property at a discount, making smart renovations to increase the property value. You can see in this property we might be able to build in $43,000 in equity. Then after we get it rented out long term, we should be able to cash flow about $485 per month. And then once we do the refi, it's important to know, how much cash do we actually have left in this deal. So that's what this is showing. You can see we've got this chart over here, which is telling you how much cash you'll need at closing. So when you purchase the property, we're going to need about $60,000. Then we're going to need about $21,000 additional to stabilize the property as we get the property renovated. And then finally, once we refinance the property, we'll only have $43,000 left in the deal. So you can kind of see how our cash outlay continues to, we have more money invested into the deal as we renovate the property, but then once we get to that refinance stage, we're able to get a little bit of our money out, about $40,000 back out of it, but we'll still have $43,000 invested in the deal. And then ultimately we want to know, what's our total return over time. So how are we building wealth over time by holding this property long term? You can see up front during the stabilization period, we're able to build in some equity up front from making those smart renovations and increasing the property value. But then we'll have some cash flow each year. And then we'll be able to build in equity into the deal by paying down the principal of the loan, but then also having the property value appreciate over time. And then we've got some pretty detailed stuff going on some of these other tabs here. If you do want to get into the details and the nitty-gritty of each of those steps, you'll have this detailed information on the short-term rehab. So what are your results from buying the property and then renovating the property? So that'll dive into those detailed results a little bit. It'll also talk about whether you're actually able to generate rental income during that destabilized period. So while you're renovating the property, are you able to actually capture any rental income? And then ultimately it's going to tell you how much cash and capital you'll need in the deal to actually renovate the property and get it stabilized. So again, a lot of detailed stuff that's probably too detailed for this video, but we'll have all that information in here that you need to really determine how much cash flow you're making on the property, how much equity you're generating from appreciation, from paying down your principal, stuff like that. So that's one of the major big tools that we're working on, but we'll also be launching some other smaller tools like that bid manager and then the inspection tool. Otherwise, we'll be building out a new rental investment packet, so that way it takes all of those rental results that you've inputted into the rental calculator, puts it into a printer-friendly investment packet similar to our flip investment packet. So we'll be building that out. We've also got some ideas for exporting your estimate data and really just kind of generally maybe all of your accounting data. So we've got a bunch of reports that you can export to CSV, but you can't actually export the actual reports to a CSV. You can export it to a PDF. You can't export it to a CSV. But anyways, we'll be taking a look at doing something like that. Estimator search, some other workflow improvements, some dashboard improvements. A material manager, that's going to be another major one that will hopefully get launched here in the next couple months, and a whole bunch of other stuff planned over the course of the next few months and remaining time in this year is what we've got planned here. So hopefully that provides you a quick feedback on what we've been working on and what we've got planned over the next couple months. If you do have any suggestions or feedback on ideas on what you think we should be working on, just let us know and we'll take that into consideration. So